Hey guys and girls, my name is Ryan Dossey, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about what wholetailing is. No, this isn't wholesaling. I didn't misspeak. I'm not misspelling it when I type it out. Wholetailing is a totally different strategy than wholesaling. I'm going to walk you through the ins and outs, what it is, and most importantly, how it can boost your average profit and seriously get you paid. Before we dive in, I do have just a quick favor to ask. If you would please subscribe, upvote, and share this content, I would seriously appreciate it. So what is wholetailing? Wholetailing is kind of like wholesaling. So it all starts with getting a good deal, using that kind of 75% rule. Be sure to check out that video on the channel if you haven't seen it. But instead of selling the property to somebody else off market, doing like an assignment or a double closing or something of that nature, you're actually purchasing the home, like closing on it, buying it, you own it. Now that doesn't necessarily have to be your cash. It could be a private lender's. You may partner with somebody else on the deal, like I actually did on this first one I'm gonna walk you through. I had a money partner that we pulled in who helped facilitate us being able to get this deal done. So you are taking on more risk, but as I'm going to show you in this particular deal, for substantially more reward. Now, one thing I do want to point out with the wholetailing strategy that is super important, you do want to have a retail inspection done. It's going to cost you a couple $100. Somebody's going to crawl all over the house, all under the house, and just make sure that there's nothing wrong with it. The number one thing that kills the profit of a wholesale deal is things that come up on the inspection for the retail buyer. So that's one of the other ways a wholesale is different than a wholesale, is you're typically selling it to an owner occupant or an end buyer. Sometimes it may go to like a hedge fund or an out-of-town buyer, somebody who's comfortable buying on thinner margins. But as I'm going to show you in this particular deal, we sold it to somebody who is an owner occupant, meaning they moved into the house. They're now living there with their family. So this particular deal came through my website. It was an organic SEO lead, meaning they Googled something like "we buy houses" and my website comes up first for that. They filled out a form, came into our office, called them, and then set up an appointment almost immediately. You know, hey, we are interested in purchasing your house. Let's go, right? And we went out to the home, walked through it, and just treated them like human beings. You know, what do we need to know about the property, your situation? What can you tell us about it? Why are you wanting to sell? How fast do you need to sell? This one was actually pretty unique in that there was no like job transfer or divorce. They weren't behind on payments, actually had tons of equity. What it came down to was they were pregnant and found out they were having twins, and they did not have enough space to add 2 more to the family in this current home. And they found another home that they liked. They went under contract on it, but their bank would not approve the mortgage until their first home was paid off. Hence why they called us, right? So we walked through the property, and it was a very unique situation in that it was in kind of an A-class area, but it was on some land. And comps were all over the place, like 150,000 to 275. And unfortunately, nothing really near our house had sold that was on this kind of land. Now, there wasn't really a play here to like subdivide or split the land off and sell it to different people. It wasn't really buildable. It was more just, this is a home on some, on a pretty decent amount of wooded, lot, right? One of the other things I really liked about this house that was unique, it did have a detached garage as well as the attached garage. Being a car guy, I was like, man, this place is sweet, right? So we were just really, really conservative in our offer to the folks we bought this home from. We literally walked them through our thought process of, look, we're having a hard time figuring out what this could be worth fixed up just because it's so unique. There's nothing else that's on this kind of acreage that's kind of in this similar shape that's sold. There was stuff that had sold nearby, but it was on an 1/8 of an acre, 1/4 acre lot, not the 2.5 that we were sitting on. So we were like, it was in a good town, it was in good school districts, but it was very much kind of on the outskirts. It wasn't like in the heart of the action. So we were just super conservative. And we came up with an offer price of $155,000 cash and threw it out there just kind of, hey, this is what would make sense for us. We've just got to be pretty cautious here. And they were like, done, we'll take it. And we were kind of like, oh, okay, well, let's see what we can do with this thing. So we shot the deal out to our buyers list, people that are typically looking for investment type properties, fix and flippers, and just figured, let's see what we can get. So the best offer that we got would have been a net profit to us of $36,000. Now, y'all, my last year as a W-2 employee, I made 21 grand pre-tax. So on a single deal to be looking at $36,000 was like, this is pretty solid, right? We kind of felt though, like maybe this is special. And I think what made us consider buying and listing it in the first place or wholetailing it was just how unique it was. There wasn't really anything like this that had sold near it or around it. And I'm going to walk you guys through some pictures and our actual profit and loss statement on this deal as well. So we reached out to a couple local realtors who they had a lot of listings, a lot of sales activity in kind of this town, and just said, hey, will you come out and give us a BPO? So a BPO is a broker's price opinion. Sometimes they'll do it for free. Sometimes they want a couple $100. We actually had a little bit of a relationship with one of the gals who came out. She walked through it and was like, hey, I want this house for my son. And we were like, okay, cool. What do you think it's worth? And she was like, man, I don't want to tell you guys that because I want to pay less than that. And we were like, well, we'll give you a good deal, but what do you think? And she told us, if you guys came to me and wanted me to list this, I would advise you to list it at $249,000. What? We were like, we didn't think this thing was worth anywhere near that dollar amount. But again, we're not retail buyers, right? We are investors. So we're used to getting good deals on properties that need a decent chunk of work, not kind of these A-class single families on land with a detached garage in good school districts, right? This is a little bit of a nicer animal than what we typically deal with. So we kind of looked at it and decided, we might as well try it, right? We have this offer that'll make us $36,000 from an investor. So they think they can make more money above and beyond that. Tells us that, maybe we really do have a winner here. So we turned around, listed the property on the MLS and sold it, went under contract in less than 24 hours. Now, before I dive into the numbers, I do want to touch on that inspection piece because we hadn't done it on this deal. So anytime you go to sell a house to an owner occupant, somebody using a mortgage, it's always going to be contingent on an inspection in which they are looking for things that are wrong with the house in order to come back and either retrade, get a better price, or make you fix it so they're getting, a move-in ready house that they're not expecting they're going to have to do anything to. So we did not do an inspection on this deal. And that got really, really, really scary when they did an inspection. And one thing with inspectors is they are paid to find problems, right? So if you have them go out to a really nice house and there's not really anything wrong with it, they're gonna get really, really creative, really in-depth, looking for things that could be issues to justify the money that they were paid to go out there and look at it, right? So they came back on this house, one of the scariest inspection things I've ever seen. And they said the house is actually in a, what did they call it? Almost like a sinkhole, and is structurally unsound. You need to have a structural engineer come out here and look at it. So we were like, oh my gosh, what did we do, right? Like we didn't go down into the crawl space. Like, yeah, we peeked in it, but we didn't do a full-blown inspection. So we had a structural engineer come out, and fortunately for us, he said, look guys, this person is the dumbest inspector I've ever met. The property is totally structurally fine. Here's proof that it's structurally fine, signed certificate. We're able to take that to the buyer and move towards closing. So let's hop into the pictures as well as the good part. How much more money did we make by closing on this using private money and listing it on the MLS? It's a reason you now see me talk a lot more about wholetailing. We made a lot more money. Let's check it out. So this is the lovely house that we got. So wooded lot, brick and vinyl, attached 2-car garage. Pretty quiet, pretty private. I think it was a 3-car. Yeah, it was a detached 3-car. Super, super nice. I mean, this is definitely a home that I think a lot of people would have loved to have had. Nice kind of sitting family area, dining room, kitchen. Again, this isn't like beautiful, right? This isn't like granite and recently remodeled. I mean, this is definitely kind of dated. But when you're wholetailing, you're looking for properties that are pretty well move-in ready. They're livable, they're clean. Sure, somebody's gonna come in, and if it were me, I would paint the trim white and I would remove this horrible, sponge paint thing they've got going on in the bathroom, right? I would replace the carpet in this room. It was actually the only room that had this kind of carpet, but some neat built-ins in the bedrooms. So this was the particular house, just, kind of cute family house. I want to say that it was 4 beds, 2.5 baths, 2,400 square feet on almost a 2.5 acre lot, right? So here's where this gets pretty dang interesting. So if you remember, the best offer I had for this house would have made me right at $36,000. We bought it for I think $155. So what is that? Like 190s-ish. We turned around and listed the home, and within 24 hours accepted. We actually listed for $249. We got bid up by $1,000. Woo-hoo! Midwest bidding wars, right? And we took an offer for $250,000. Now, let me walk you through all the costs in this. So closing costs at title, we had $2,282 come out. We paid $7,500 in commissions. Now, that's to the realtor that brought the buyer. We actually listed this deal ourselves because I'm a licensed real estate broker in Indiana and just kind of saved ourselves the cost there. We bought the property for $155,000. So we were all into it for $164,782 for a gross profit of $85,218 on a single deal. That is freaking huge, right? So here's kind of the expenses that broke down. The thing with a wholesale is you're really trying not to put any money into it. So we spent a whopping $116 to have it insured. I think we owned this thing for maybe 45 days. My funding partner used hard money to close on the deal. So $4,346 was what we spent in interest, which is not cheap, a little steep, right? And then in property taxes, we paid $398.64 for the few, weeks we owned it. Here was the kicker. This was our big expense. The only thing we did to this property, it had a propane tank, so it wasn't even on, county utilities. We spent $418.92 having the propane tank refilled. Guys, after all of our expenses, we made $79,938 versus the $36,000 we would have made wholesaling. That's huge. Because we were able to wholesale this house, we were able to, more than double our profit on it, right? Being a one-trick pony, and what I mean by that, when I started out, all I could do was wholesale, seriously limits the kind of deals you can do, as well as the potential profit you can make. So go out there in your market, attend your local RIA, network with people, and start to build some of these relationships with private lenders or funding partners, even if you have to split profits with them, right? It's a really good kind of exit strategy to be able to add to your tool belt. Now I'm doing buy and hold, I'm doing wholetailing and wholesaling. I don't flip a ton, and I'll talk about that in a different video, but I don't know about you, 36,000 versus 79 grand is a really good justification to network and add a new skill to your skill set. Talk to you soon.